Hi, Gary. Hi again, Gary.
How are you, David?
Doing well, thanks.
Good.
I think I still might have a little bit of election day hangover, but you know,
I'll bet you do.
it's only been a week.
I can't believe how you guys had to work on this. Just the amount of effort you had to put in. Hopefully this isn't going to happen again for a while, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a busy November, though.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good, though. Better busy than bored.
That's for sure. How are you and your family doing?
They've all left me,
Uh-huh.
at least temporarily. We're all doing well, thank you.
Good.
And you and yours?
We're doing okay. Greta had an accident about 5 weeks ago. In the middle of the night, she ended up tumbling down the stairs and ended up breaking her wrist. So we had an emergency room trip into the hospital and banged up her knees and her arm. They had an operation to reset it. And slowly she's getting back. Every day is a little bit better, but she's still very limited in the use of her arms.
Who's that, Gary?
Oh, this is Greta. She tripped down some stairs and broke her arm, her wrist.
Oh, in the middle of the night, I went down a flight of stairs and broke my wrist.
Oh, it sounds very similar.
It's not fun.
No, it hasn't been, but she's getting better little by little. It takes
hopefully she's a good patient.
She
And
is.
does what the doctors or physical therapists or nurse practitioners or whoever told her to do.
Yeah, she's been compliant. She was a nurse practitioner herself, so
And that.
I hope she has a good hand therapist, because I did. And that's vital to get full movement of the wrist.
I'll have to check in with you afterwards to get the person who you saw.
Well, she isn't here anymore. She
Okay.
moved, she was with Dr. Olenek, who isn't here either. I don't know. Who's her wrist doctor?
Dr. Sardino.
Sardino, yeah,
Yes.
he did my ankle.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
We've been pleased with him.
oh, good, good. Well, there is a hand specialist through Snow Sport and Spine that I go to for physiotherapy. And she isn't part of them anymore, but I can get the name of the person if
Okay.
you're not satisfied with the physiotherapist that you're given, or that Greta's given.
Thanks, I'll let you know, Whitney.
The other thing was with me is that the doctors concentrate on the wrist, and the whole arm and the shoulder can get involved in it. And and the physiotherapist I went to at the time worked on my shoulder as well as my wrist.
Mhm. Was it your painting hand?
And drawing, but I did a lot of writing with my non-dominant hand, which is interesting.
Yeah.
What is Greta's, left or right?
Greta's is left, but she's a left-hander.
Oh dear.
But she's fairly ambidextrous, but her writing is looking pretty scratchy right now. I think, right, she let you know, Dave, that you might not check out her signature against what was on the voter rolls.
I think she gave us a heads up on that, so.
Right, I think she did.
Her vote was counted along with all the others.
Boy, what a turnout for a
Yeah,
midterm or a primary.
Yeah.
How many?
We were about 45%. We had just over 900 people vote.
Wow.
500 and something via absentee, and a little over 300 on election day itself.
So
Did you see
absentee
Gina
work.
Sawyer's note? I was
Sorry?
just saying, did you see Gina Sawyer's note to the bulletin board today? You know, it sort of goes to the issue of the Historical Society building. I thought she wrote a very, very good note saying that a lot of stuff goes on. There's lots of opportunities to learn about these things. And I thought she put it very well.
She was
I
very
read Sandy
articulate.
Delano. She wrote about the historical building. Did you read that?
I did, yeah. I like what Gina had to say.
I didn't. I'm not
Way
on
to
the
be
bulletin board.
involved,
Tony is.
What Gina said, and you know, regardless of the issue, I think that's true. That people jump in on the 11th hour and don't realize some of the work that's gone in from committees or citizens, and it's an issue we struggle with all the time, is how best to disseminate information, because everybody gets it differently, whether they want to read it in the newspaper or online or watch TV or word of mouth, or, you know, everybody's different.
Yeah. I liked your "Did you know" emails. I think they did a good job of laying out some of the issues, at least for those people who are on the bulletin board.
Tony,
Yeah, thank you.
yes.
Tried to at least let people know that something was going on.
Yeah, and bring some life to the.
more out there.
Hi, Steve.
You,
Hi, Susan.
how about going out and doing that float count? You ready for that?
Well, we're going to do it, Steve. Tony hasn't contacted Jeff Braun to take him out. Definitely, we're going to do the float count.
No, I meant Gary was gonna go out with me.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. I'll give you a call and we can figure out a time.
Okay,
Dave, this is the count of the floats and docks
Yep.
and.
Polly Stein,
Hey, Rich.
Irene, or unencapsulated issue.
Yes.
right.
Gary, I'm going to beg off. It looks like everybody's having okay connecting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job, David.
All right. Sorry, I almost fell down again, but Gary propped me up and woke
All
me
right.
up and pointed me in the right direction. Have a good meeting, everyone.
Thank
We're all
you.
Thank you,
needing,
David.
we're all
Appreciate it.
needing help these days. Okay, thanks.
Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Welcome.
Hello, doing good. How are you?
All right. Doing okay.
having your dinner, Rich?
My first cucumbers, they're good.
Oh,
Good. From the
Oh,
garden.
wow.
They're the
Yeah.
best, the first ones.
You're right. You're right. I've been missing them.
We picked our first big tomato today.
Oh, good for you.
Really?
I've been
What
eating
kind?
cherry tomatoes the last couple days. No big ones yet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we've had a few cherries. Yeah, what was that, Tony?
I just wondered what kind of tomatoes there were.
Oh, this was, let me, Greta, it was a purple something. What was it?
Purple.
I'll show it to you.
we have a black one, don't we?
Yeah, I have,
How does he know it's even ripe if it's purple?
I
Yeah,
don't know. So it's a purple prince, I think is what it's called. You can see
Ooh,
it.
oh, look
Ooh,
at that.
Look at
purple
that.
print.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
oh,
can't
that's-
see it get a
Oh,
regular.
wow.
what'd you say, Prince? Because you have a black Prince.
I have a black prince, yeah.
print.
Oh,
Yeah, so, hold on just a second. Greta, what kind of tomato was that?
Who broke their wrist? Oh
Okay.
Greta,
dear. Badly?
I think so.
So Greta says it's a purple Cherokee.
Purple
Cherokee.
Cherokee, okay.
All right.
Well, I'm going black princes, so maybe the black prince and the purple Cherokee should meet.
Yeah, get together with my big boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm not sure who else we should expect. I think Lise said that
Lise.
she'd be joining
Yeah,
us.
Lisa's coming. I talked to her earlier.
And I know that that Pat said that she may be able to join us.
Okay.
is it too soon to d- see if there are corrections to the previous month's minutes?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Tony, I thought you did a great job as usual on them. I didn't see any issues except for one, when you talked about BOAs being in the lakes, BOAs. So I thought that Cheryl might be able to relate to that, like in the Everglades with
Like boas, yeah.
BOAs rather than boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, but the notes were great.
What, can you point me to a
Oh,
paragraph?
let me see, I'll find it. But they were excellent minutes. I think it was under Norton Pond. Oh, it was under McGuntacook, where it says, and that the number of these boas had increased.
Uh, Oh, yes. Oh, that would be a surprise, wouldn't it?
That would be a surprise.
Okey-doke, all right.
And-
Otherwise accepted.
Otherwise, it looked fine to me. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Tony, I need to make a change in my address. Some things have crashed on my computer. Could I give you my new address?
Please do, right, go ahead.
It's my last name with an S on it, Sanderson's 67 at iCloud.com.
57
67
Sanderson's 67.
at iCloud.com. And thank you.
Welcome, Lise.
At what.com?
Hi, Gary.
Welcome.
iCloud.com.
Oh, iCloud, oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's Lise.
Hey, Lise.
At least,
See you.
Hi.
Glad you're. I had trouble trying to get in with the first email from Dave Kinney, but luckily this last one worked.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad you could join us. We just reviewed the minutes and we didn't have any issues with them from the
I don't
last meeting.
either.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
I guess Lise didn't mind the boas.
I guess not. Yeah. There was something in there.
Didn't
that
mind
said-
what?
It said, we had something in there that said the number of boas had increased in Lake McGuntacook.
Oh, well, they definitely have. Well, it shows I didn't read it carefully enough.
Well, let's do our,
Never know what's around in this part of the world.
that's right. Let's do our lake by lake. How about Coleman Pond?
Continues to be quiet. I think there's only one boat that goes occasionally in the evening with either a skier or a tuber pulling that, and occasional kayaker. And Tony, have you seen the chicks?
I didn't see them today, but last Friday, there were two.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, good lucky you guys.
Yeah,
Have
Nice.
they increased in size much?
yes, definitely. And I was watching them, and the parents now are staying away from them and doing their own.
They're too
fishing.
big.
What?
They're too big.
Yeah,
That's why the parents are staying away.
Yes,
That's a
exactly.
joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. Joke.
Oh. Well, they
Not
stay
funny.
together. The two of them stay right close together, and one of them is trying to dive. And when you hear a mournful sound, that's the parent coming back. And when the parent returns, they don't move. When the parent returns, they swim right after the parent. And then the other parent comes rushing in. So it's fascinating to watch. And we're lucky they're right in front of our house sometimes. So
Nice.
that's pretty much what I'd say. Do you have anything? Tony?
no, except that I was talking to my our immediate neighbor who said that on July 4th, there was a boat in the pond on the other side, out of sight of our house and his house, that was sending, he said, just hundreds of fireworks. And we weren't here, so I can't speak to that, but there was, my understanding is that the fireworks were coming from a boat, and the boat was on the other side of the pond. It was a lot and prolonged, meaning 15 minutes.
Was that on July 4th or some other?
I think it was July 4th.
Okay.
And other than,
Does the
I haven't heard
does
any.
the lake is it? Does the
But-
Lake Association have any feeling about fireworks, and do they have a position on it that to encourage people who live around the lake to not set them off?
Yes, I was on the fireworks committee, and
That's
with,
what I thought.
yeah, with
But
the
the-
town.
That was the town fireworks committee.
But I put out in the newsletter to the reasons why not to have fireworks, which is the debris that falls in the pond. And I guess these people are not a member of the Coleman Pond Association. Maybe they're.
Well, maybe it'd be good to find out who they are. Do you know who they are?
No, but we
No
can,
one knows.
well, we haven't, we just learned this news, and we can ask. We can ask if, from the other side of the pond, if anybody knows about it.
Right, because somebody must know, because they went on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, at least that's a good point. We'll ask somebody on the other side of the pond if
Yeah,
they know who it was.
because they should be talked to and explained, because maybe they don't know.
You're right. We know several people on the other side. I'll email them tomorrow.
Good.
Do you have a sense on Coleman Pond that there are fewer people who opened up their cottages, in particular
Yes,
people from out of state?
Yes, but Tony hasn't been around with Jeff to see if that's a fact. That's our sense.
Yeah, I second that. My impression is that there are fewer visitors, fewer residents, less activity. But I can't put, no, I don't know for sure.
And Andy Andrews said that was true. Richards Road, where most of the cottages are. Andy Andrews, a few weeks ago, told me that it looked like on Richards Road that people were not coming back. So we'll go find out.
Not surprising.
What?
It's not surprising.
Yeah, yes.
Well, shall we move on to McGuntacook, Susan?
Sure. Well, it's been very hot the last few days, and I think anyone who owned a canoe, a kayak, or a boat was on the water. It was a dramatic contrast to July 4th when there was hardly anyone there. So everyone was out. And as I had said, the wakes seem to be getting bigger all the time. The water level's gone down a bit with dry weather again. So, although we've had some rain too, but still, it seems like the water level's gone down a bit. But that happens this time of year. But that's all I've really observed.
So are the boats that generate the big waves continuing with the same intensity as you were reporting on last time?
Not quite as much. That seemed to really peak a little bit before that. We did put a boat out at 200 feet. So, yeah, still concerned about the wakes, but they didn't seem to be as bad recently.
Good. How about loons? Are you seeing any loons?
Well, I saw those 7 in a circle, but I don't know what the nesting pair. I haven't seen any sign of them, but there are 2 that are further out and active now.
Thanks. Steve, how about Norton Pond?
Well, Norton's Pond has been very busy. We've got a lot of tubers, fishing boats, a little bit of everything. The water levels are good. It's dropped a little bit, but the temperature has gone right up. It's like bath water. I think we have lost our loon chick because the mother and father loon has been around, not like they normally do when they get a chick. And there was a lot of commotion the other night, I heard, just about dusk. And so I wonder if something might have got at that baby loon and has taken.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a shame.
But other than that, everything is normal. We've got a fair amount of people around. We've got a few people that aren't coming this year, but there's a lot of them that are coming and going to be here for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And we got some people even here from Texas. I was concerned about that. So
Right.
that's all I can.
How about Pitcher Pond?
Well, I've got several items. Let me first mention what's gone on with fireworks, because even the topic is causing fireworks now. You know, my wife is president, I'm on the board. For a few years, in the last 3 years, a couple of those years at our annual meeting, there's been a push to try to limit the fireworks more, you know, and even to approach the select board and see about increasing the, putting more restriction on usage and timing of it. This year, when the topic came up, and it's very interesting. I mean, it's so reflective of what's going on in the country now. There was such strong reactions on both sides about doing anything, like to restrict it, and then strong feelings about restricting it more. The problem with the annual meeting too is that, you know, we may get 40 to 50 people, but we have a lot more people than that on the lake. Like, you know, it's like 120 or so cabins, or, you know, landowners. So it doesn't really represent everyone. And a lot of people who aren't in the association or don't come to our meetings, I think, are people who have much stronger feelings about individual rights over what's best for the lake.
Mhm.
So we basically decided as a board last week to, you know, really take a neutral stance and not try to push anything right now, because of the mood, because of, you know, how strongly people are taking a stance on one side or the other.
Mhm.
So I'll let that go.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Water level has been pretty much gotten back to where it should be before we had that real dry spell. So that's been good. I've seen about like 4 loons, at least on my end of the lake. Haven't seen chicks, but you know, the eagle population has been increasing now for several years. So there's now 4 at least, and they're hunting often. So I think that's a real tough thing for any chicks, any bird chicks. We had an engineer from the State Department come down and evaluate our dam, and we got a really good report. We're going to get a written report soon, but the report is the dam is in very good shape, which is great because of the expense in fixing dams. So that was good news. I did water testing with another person on the lake last week. We had really good bacteria counts, 0 and 3 at 2 sites.
That's terrific.
Yeah, 235 is the problem zone. So, you know, well below that. Let me see. I put.
Did the pond need to pay for the state inspector of the dam, or was that a service that they provided?
We're paying for the report, but it wasn't an extensive exam. It was, it should be quite affordable. And, you know, what we really needed to do is to see if we needed a real major in-depth underwater, you know, examination, but it doesn't seem like that's necessary,
That's good.
which is very good. And it appears that we've had 3 unencapsulated docks replaced, which is good
Good.
news. So I'm hoping our educational effort is making a difference.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah. Oh, and in terms of busyness, yeah, you know, it's generally been so quiet, but, you know, again, the last week with the heat, when I've been over there, it's been, you know, busier than I've seen it in a long time. Fishermen, canoes, some motorboats, not a lot of motorboats, but, you know, kayaks, canoes.
Mhm.
So people are using it quite a lot. Our little parking lot's been full at the ramp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this warm weather, this hot weather really draws people to the water.
Absolutely. One of the places to escape.
Lise, how about Moody Pond?
Well, 3 loons a couple of weeks ago. Then the other day, 2. Hear a lot of noise down there. I must say I was down yesterday or the day before maybe, and our dog went. The loons were out in the pond, and our dog went around to the left, and I heard a lot of commotion going on. So I don't know what was going on. Somebody also had seen ducks over there and baby ducks. So there was a big commotion, and she didn't come back for quite a while. But hopefully she did not get a loon chick, but I've seen no evidence of a loon chick. The water is going down. It's still flowing out Mariners Brook. So the water, it's gone down a bit, but it hasn't gone down enough. And hopefully, I mean, it continues to run out Mariners Brook. And what else? There's apparently the blue heron is there, according to our neighbors. We had tea with our neighbors this afternoon, the Cassons. And so they said they'd seen the blue heron, definitely in residence over at the east side of the lake. And what else? Well, I'm a little nervous about whatever happened the other day with the dog, but because she's not to be trusted. Do they usually, if a loon nest would be in the water on the shore?
Right at the interface between the shore and the water. So they're usually built up on the land, right on the shoreline. At least that's been my experience.
Well, hopefully she's not responsible for a slaughter. Don't want anybody to be responsible for a slaughter. Oh, there was a boat out there. There have been people swimming, and so it's being used. And it was nice to see another boat out there. So that's it from Moody.
Welcome, Tandy. Glad you could join us.
Andy.
Is she muted?
She's
I
muted.
think you're,
Sound. Yeah, that's
is
better.
anybody good at charades?
Hear you, gotta hear you.
I think you're muted, Tandy.
Somebody have a big piece of paper they can write muted.
Doing it.
Yes.
Andy, stop.
Oh, there. She seeing it? She should see it.
Did she, can you, is it reads backwards for me, is that right?
You,
Yeah.
looks
That's
good.
correct. Yes.
It's right.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Okay.
maybe she'll get it.
I don't even see her.
She's there.
She's connecting.
Oh, there she is. Yo,
What's that?
I think it's American Sign Language.
Candy!
Hi.
Candy!
Oh,
Oh,
there she
there
is.
you go.
There she is. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Glad you could join us. I can report on Levenseller. The water level's gone down a bit, and it's getting a tremendous amount of use from swimmers.
Mm.
On these hot days, whenever you drive by, almost all of the parking lots have cars in them. Lots of families there, lots of young kids too. So it's good to
Gary,
see
did you
people.
say, I missed what you said. Did you say the water level was down?
The water level was down from where it was, but it's not too far down. Pretty much like the other ponds.
Okay.
Well,
And,
Moody's still up.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
I was
cold.
down on the shore of Moody a week ago, and I was surprised at how high the level is. So it must be that
Yeah.
beaver
Did
activity.
you just say Moody level was up?
Yeah,
Well,
Moody-
it's still flowing out.
yeah, so it's much higher than it usually is this time of year.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
about a foot.
But if you recall, Lise was complaining over the last couple of years that there was much more vegetation along the shore and into the water. And I think that that's because the water levels were lower. I'll bet that the higher water levels, Lise, will cut down some of that vegetation.
That's right. So it maybe has a good side to it.
I think it does. I think it does.
Yeah.
How about Minnow Brook, Cheryl?
Minnow Brook. I haven't seen Minnow Brook in quite a while, at least not from my house. I really couldn't say.
Okay. I noticed that there's a fairly large boat that's docked up there regularly that you can see from the bridge on 52.
Yeah, that's Bruce and Becky Richards.
Uh-huh.
They built a house closer to the water a couple years ago when we built ours, actually. And yeah, I wonder if it fits under the bridge there, under the road. Because the water level's been pretty high.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to ask them about that. I keep getting to ask if it fits.
Bruce?
Candy, is there anything that you want to add for Coleman Pond?
Well, I don't know what Tony.
I wanted to add one thing about Coleman Pond is that the alewives are beating the surface like a rainstorm around dusk. You see these huge 15, 20-foot patches of just turbulence. And
that's
they're
great.
about that size. So I
Yes,
think
that
they're
Well, you know,
the-
Tony, we have those two wonderful baby loons on Coleman Pond.
Yes,
we
good.
do.
Oh, that's
They're
good.
so precious. We're so lucky.
We
Yeah.
are lucky.
Yeah.
First
we
time
just hope-
ever that since we've lived here, Tandy.
Yeah, well, we don't want the Eagles to get them. So
No, or last week I saw on the island, I saw a snapping turtle sunbathing that must have been around 14 inches in length,
wow.
just the carapace. Hard to tell because it's a distance. I had no point of reference, but it was clearly over a foot and less than 16 inches.
Well, we have a lot of motor activity on Coleman Pond. We had all kinds of people pulling motorboats, pulling people on inner tubes. So a lot of families are having a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, paddle boaters and kayaks and motorboats with inner tubes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
And swimmers.
Okay, we're swimming. It's
Oh, you're
wonderful.
swimming?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we see people, I think it's our immediate neighbor, back and forth on the pond in the afternoon. The parallel.
Well, the water temperature is wonderful. Do you know, Tony, what the temperature is?
I don't. I don't like to get wet, so I don't go anywhere near the water. But
Well, it's probably in the
you're
70s,
encouraging me. I might dip a toe tomorrow.
Oh, it's probably 75, 76. It's so beautiful.
Just
We
watch
just
where
jumped
you,
in.
just watch where you dip that toe with the snapping turtle around.
Right here.
So Gary, to answer you, that we do have water monitoring going on. I don't have a report.
Mhm.
And, but it is happening, the Secchi disc, and they'll do the dissolved oxygen and they will do the bacteria count. But I don't have any reports yet. And also, well, I think I've sent you all that the Coleman Pond meeting is canceled. We tried
I
to have,
said.
we tried to have a Zoom meeting, but because we didn't have our speaker couldn't come, couldn't get herself organized for a Zoom meeting. We decided not to have it because who wants to come for a business meeting, all of which we can put out, all reports we can put out in a newsletter.
That makes sense.
Well, is it possible maybe in the fall, we could, if everything is better and improved, that it's the camaraderie and the socialization
I
that is
know,
so wonderful.
I agree with you, Tandy, and socialization is a big part of it. And, but it doesn't look like the fall will be much better than now. I hope so.
Well, I hope so. Well, Maine is one of the best states in the United States.
That's true.
And we want to keep it that way.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Good.
Yeah, we got to watch those New Yorkers. They're all moving in.
Oh,
I'm going to move on to another topic. Oh, Tony, I was glad to hear about the alewives because you saw them that size. It means that they've had a good, successful breeding year. And I was wondering if that was going to happen, given how low the water was and how easy it was going to be whether it was going to be easy enough for the adults to get into the pond. But the fact that you're seeing them means that they successfully bred. So
and I think they've gotten out because with the rainstorms, the Andrews Brook is flowing.
That's good. Well, I'd like to turn to the Phragmites issue now. At the end of our last meeting, I had an assignment to contact Dave Kinney about briefing the select board. I gave him a call the day after our meeting, and it turned out that the select board was not going to be meeting again until the 28th. And we really wanted to try to get our project completed to the extent that we could by the end of July. So Dave counseled me that if the state was supportive of what we were doing, he thought it was a project that we could go forward with without getting the express approval of the select board. So I called the DEP to try to find out what we would need to do and what the timing might be to get a permit. And I ended up having a really good conversation with the DEP staffer. And I told her what the time constraints were that we had, and that we really wanted to do a pilot year this year. And she said that there's a one-time exemption that can be had by an entity that's going to be doing work in a wetland that is limited to just 4,300 square feet, which is about equivalent to 1/10 of an acre. She said that she would talk to her supervisor to see if our project would qualify. And then she got back to me with the email that I sent to all of you this morning saying that they would approve it. And So that's really good, and there's no charge for it this year. She also made clear that if we were to do it next year, do the full project next year, that we would have to pay the permit fee of $250, which was the information that Cheryl had gotten from her contacts earlier with the DEP, and that $250 would be good for 2 years. So if we ended up doing it this year with a follow-up for the next 4 years, that might come to $500. She agreed that it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to charge money for doing restoration work, because what we're doing is improving the wetland rather than disturbing it. But she said that's the way in which the law is written. So it might even be worth it to, to raise this issue with maybe Paige Ziegler, who's our representative, and see if there could be some kind of an exemption that would be built into the law that would actually encourage this kind of restoration work rather than charge people for doing it. But in any case, for our purposes, the way is clear for us to do a project. Our work on it isn't limited to a single day. We can define it as what we want to include within the project. I went down to the site yesterday and did some measurements, and it looks like there's about 150 feet or so of Phragmites that face on the parking lot. So this would be the flat side that you see when you pull a trailer into that trailer lot, and then also the part of the lot to the right that's parallel with 52 and 173 there, that ends up going up to the Veterans Memorial. So if you've got about 150 foot of frontage and you have to limit your project to 4,300 feet, you can go back about 25 feet from the margin. So as I look at the infestation is there, I think we'd be able to remove most of it with that 4,300 square foot limitation. We're not approved to use chemical means, so this would be a mechanical removal that we could attempt. So I wanted to get comments from others on it and see whether or not there's a subcommittee of this group or members of this group that would like to be part of a volunteer contingent that would go out and experiment with cutting and see what works, see what might be effective, and we could do that over the next several weeks, but probably trying to start sooner rather than later. And if it looked like we needed to recruit more volunteers to help out, we could do that as well to try to complete the project. I also made a call to the Waldo County Soil and Water Conservation people who had said they would lend us a gas-powered brush cutter that could make quick work of some of this, but I haven't yet heard back. But I think it's worth having us go out and giving a try to see what it takes to cut it, whether we'd want to use, machetes or lockers or sharp knives or to see what might work. It's getting pretty high. Some of the Phragmites along the edge are 10 or 12 feet high already, but they haven't gone to seed yet. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this and whether anyone on the call today would be interested in part of a volunteer work party. If we were to go out, I think we would require everybody to wear masks and to do social distancing as well. So we'd have to do some plans and set up some protocols so that we could do it safely. But I just want to get people's reactions.
I have a question about disposal of what's been cut. Has there been any thought as to how to get rid of it?
Yeah, in reading the literature, it sounds as though if you can get it before it's gone to seed, you can just leave it in place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just a matter of cutting the stalks and leaving them there.
So they
Oh,
just
wow.
disintegrate. Okay. Well, I'll be happy to help.
Okay,
be happy to help.
And I will.
terrific.
I will too.
Good. Okay.
I
Good.
can't stand up. I'll fall into the mucky water.
But I think it's
Ray-
important,
You
Larry,
can
that we
can
get
tell
this
us what to
done
do.
before they go to seed. I'll tell you.
Whitney can
You can
drive me
sit there and tell us.
and provide a food service from Lincolnville General Store.
Yes,
But and we need to do some record keeping. We need to keep track of how much area we end up covering, and it'd be worth taking some notes. When I mentioned this to Dave Kinney, he thought we might want to document this project as a guide for other municipalities or others that would want to try to do it. So if there was someone interested in doing that part of it too, that'd be wonderful.
Do you think we can record that, putting an iPhone on a tripod and just recording?
Oh, I think
Just
that we
take a
could do
couple
that.
of pictures and
Sure.
have done with it.
Yeah, I think doing some videos maybe of what we're doing and then some skills as well. I think would be really,
Hey, that would be great PR.
yeah, doing before and after photos too.
Yeah.
maybe Josh Gerritsen would be interested.
Yeah, I should give Josh a call. He might
Yeah.
want to document something like this.
Yeah, because he likes to do things for town
Prosperity.
projects.
It might invite a more interested audience if there was a drone involved in the recording of it.
Right, yeah, so before, you being able to see what it looks like beforehand with the drone and that.
Exactly.
would
Yeah,
be a
even
good-
if it was two still pictures.
Should we settle on a date, some dates?
Yeah, let's see if we can. I was thinking that we'd be best off doing it early in the day, when it's
Yes.
still cooler and easier to work, and maybe plan for a 2-hour or so work session. And if there are.
And see how it goes.
See how it goes, and if people still have energy and it looks like we're making good progress and it's a good day to do it, people could stick around and we could try to get some more accomplished. I'm generally pretty free these days. Friday isn't a good day of this week for me, but I think that if we can do it either sometime this week or next week, that would be optimal to try to prevent it from going to seed.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Did
Can we
people
do it
have any suggestions for dates that we might want to try to do this?
Can you do it during the week rather than the weekend?
That works for me. Does that work for others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do Thursday or Friday for a couple hours in the morning.
What, this week?
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, I'm not available this week either.
I'm not either.
Okay, so how about next week? What's a good day?
How about Monday, the 27th or Wednesday, the 29th?
That sounds good.
Monday works for me.
Monday
Yeah,
work?
Monday works for me.
No.
Okay, well, let's do one day and see how it goes and we'll plan for the next.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Just,
Okay,
Hold
And-
on, Tony's got looking up.
just a minute. We're saying Monday, the 27th?
Yeah,
yeah.
What time was
what
that?
time?
How about 8 o'clock? Is that a good time?
Yeah,
Or
Is that in the morning?
8 o'clock in the morning? Otherwise, I
you
think.
want to do it in the dark
No.
Are
so we
would
don't
you-
have to see
would
what
you
we're doing.
prefer- Would you prefer to get started a little later?
It's daylight at 5 o'clock. So what are you guys talking about?
8 o'clock is good.
Okay, let's meet at 8 if that's difficult for
No,
anyone.
What
that's
do we
fine.
bring?
Later.
Lockers?
That's fine.
Bring
And I think
lockers?
Yeah, to bring loppers or anything else that you think might cut
Yeah.
it. You know, look at a hand sickle that might,
Well, Gary, where are we gonna meet?
we're going to meet at the trailer parking lot at Breezemere Park. So when you turn down Norton Pond Road, it's that first town-owned parking lot on the right. Are you familiar with that area, Tandy?
No,
Okay,
I
so,
know the general store.
okay,
Well, the
so,
library, past the library, going towards,
Feel like I'm at the bottom of the
Drake's.
song.
yeah, so it is just south of the library. It's that first road, it's just the south of the library, just past the Veterans Memorial. You turn
Well,
right
Gary,
there.
if you'll just text me the location, I can
Okay,
GPS.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah,
I'm
it's right-
here, I'm cooking dinner.
I thought you were gonna use,
I love this. I can
Bring
do
your
it with you
knife
guys and
for
make
the-
dinner.
yeah,
that
can you
knife
bring
work.
that, can you bring that cleaver along on?
Yes.
Monday?
Well, it's just a chef's knife.
Chestnut, okay.
I'm
So,
going to
Gary,
sign
I-
off. I'm going to go cook my dinner. So I'll see you
I
all
have to do the same.
Monday at 8 o'clock.
Okay,
Bye,
one
wait
thing
a-
I
Bye, Susan.
suggest that people
Gary,
wear,
I will do record keeping. If
okay.
we don't
good.
get Josh, I'll write it down. I'll bring a clipboard and write down what you tell me to write.
Okay,
and take
so-
pictures.
Well, that'll work.
Okay, so we'll do it on Monday, and maybe Tuesday could be a rain date. I think it'd be important to wear long sleeves, or at least a long sleeve shirt that you could wear over short sleeves, because I'm not sure what we're gonna be getting into, and
But you should be fully clad for ticks.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Gary,
I'm worried about that.
Gary,
yes,
Two-
Rich,
two questions.
yes.
One is this going to be any area near the tires?
Good question.
It's on top of them.
It's gonna be mostly across the trail from the tires, and I think that we should avoid the area where the tires are.
Yeah, that makes sense for now.
Yeah,
The other is how thick are these plants compared to like the knotweed you've worked with? Because I've worked with knotweed.
yeah, I'd say that these are,
They're stalks like this.
yeah, they're
How hard are they?
thicker and stronger
that.
than the knotweed.
They're tougher?
They're tougher, yeah.
You need a lopper.
And I'll see if I can pull together some material that talks about what tools might be there, or some examples of how we might want to do this and get them to people in advance. And I think it's important to have rubber boots that come up to your
Yeah.
knees too.
I don't have rubber boots.
I don't either.
I don't think you need rubber boots.
Okay.
You need something rubber. I mean, they don't have to be all the way up to your knees because it's not that wet.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it'll be fairly dry.
Okay.
Who is committed to coming on this day?
I am.
Okay, Tandy.
I am.
So it's Lise, Cheryl,
Tandy,
Tandy, Rich,
Lise,
Susan,
Whitney,
Rich,
I'll try to
Susan.
come too.
Steve will be there.
and, Steve, if you want to drop by and see what's going on, feel
We
free.
need him to take
I'll drop
pictures.
by, but I don't, it depends on how far out you're gonna walk for. I try to go out.
Yeah, I think you might want to avoid it.
Okay, I have to run.
Okay,
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Cheryl.
I'll see you
Bye-bye.
Monday.
Bye.
yeah.
See you
so
Monday.
If the others can stick around, that would be good. I wanted to give Rich an opportunity to give us an update on docks and on the mooring.
Yeah, more. Okay, the latest is the leadership of our mooring committee seems like it's kind of melted away, but Lise, myself, and one other person from the committee, and we're hoping Paul Leeper will join us. We're going to look a little deeper at Halloween. There's dinner. we're going to try to go a little further with exploring an ordinance to protect our lakes in town from, moorings being dropped in where people feel they could put them in. Part of that is going to be,
Andy, can you mute your chopping?
Sandy, it's a little disruptive what you're chopping.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
Thank you. So we're going to see if it's worth pursuing an ordinance, and we're going to end up consulting with the town attorney to see if we can develop designated areas in town, maybe just one or two, where people might be able to put in a mooring who aren't shore landowners. But we have to see what's possible, what's legal, what the town attorney is willing to support, because if the town attorney is saying we can't do an ordinance like that, I don't think the selectmen have to approve it. I don't think they're going to go along with approving something that the town attorney is saying don't approve. So it's been very slow work. The attorney took about a year to get back to us on the ordinance issue. But we're not giving up on it at this point. That's all.
And she came back with a terrible ordinance.
Confusing edits to the ordinance we put together on the committee. I don't know, Lise, if you have anything else you want to say.
No, except that we're gonna, see whether it's better to push a good ordinance or just let the whole thing die, because the ordinance that she prepared is so permissive that we probably would not want to endorse it.
Okay, well, we'll update everyone as
So
we
it
go.
sounds like there's some explorations left to do to see what's
Yeah.
possible.
Yes.
And Paul Leeper is very much in our camp.
Did you reach him today?
I didn't reach him today, but when I reached him last week or the week before,
Very good.
he wasn't about to send any emails because he's not actually a member of the committee. He's just invited, but he has definite feelings, and he thinks he doesn't like just anybody doing anything in the designated mooring area.
Yeah, so Paul and Justin, who's the inland harbor master, they've both been involved in a few meetings with us on the mooring committee. So, hopefully they'll lend some guidance too. So that's it.
Rich, there are a lot of boats that are already moored in Barrett's Cove. I haven't noticed.
It's increased significantly. Yeah.
Oh, it has.
That's what yes.
Well,
That's what
that prompted a mooring ordinance.
No, but increased this year with a lot of.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they didn't put a mooring.
my understanding is it has. It's caused even more concern.
Oh.
And it's hard to imagine it won't stretch into Lincolnville in the near future if we don't have an ordinance.
Whose dog?
Andy's.
No, it's some other dog.
Well, thank you, Rich, for that report, and thanks to
Sure.
Rich and Lise for the work they're doing on this item. I'm sure they'll
Oh,
get
yeah.
us to a good place.
Hopefully we
We
will.
hope.
Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring up this evening?
No,
Okay.
I'm getting hungry watching Sandy cook.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making a chef
Listening to it.
salad. No cooking, it's all cold stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just ham and Swiss cheese julienne with a sliced boiled egg and greens and tomato and lettuce and red onion.
Sounds great.
All right, I'm ready to eat.
So just.
I know, it's a nice salad on a hot day.
So one more thing I want to bring up, and that is that I've agreed to brief the select board at their next meeting, which I think is Monday evening. We're on the agenda. I'm going to talk about the progress we've made over the last year and give them a copy of the report that we put into the town report, and also inform them what we're doing on the Phragmites project and what we'd like to see happen with the tires. So if you wanted to tune into that meeting, I think it's going to be
What date is it?
videoed. I believe it's Monday. I think it's the same day that,
That we're
that we're
doing
going to be
the,
doing our work in the morning.
okay.
Oh, one more thing. In terms of staying on this committee, I understand we have to inform David
Oh, yeah.
Kimming. Yes, everybody got the email?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. I got it kind of late, so I need to do that.
And Steve, I'll get in touch with you about coming up with a date to do the float survey.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all. Good to see
Yeah,
you.
good
Thank
seeing
you.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So long.
How do we get ourselves off, Tony?
Three.
We're still here. Yes, I am. So,
You're out. It's all happening. What's the time here? 7:55.
7:55. Leaving meeting. Do we do that?
You're out. You're finished.
That's what you think.